Hello, everyone. Welcome to Women Rocking Business. I am so excited to introduce you to Shelly Bullard, was introduced to me last weekend at brunch as a YouTube baller. And she's the most feminine baller I've ever met, but she's incredible. Over 90,000 subscribers on YouTube, seven-figure business. And Shelly, just thank you so much for being here. You know, Shelly teaches manifestation in a particular way. She's a love mentor to many, and she's absolutely magnetic and really living her message of this feminine way of manifestation and this feminine way of growing a business. So it's just so much fun to get to have this conversation with you.
Yay, I'm so happy to be here. This is going to be really fun. I'm excited to dive in.
Oh, and for any of you who are interested in growing a YouTube channel, for any of you who are interested in growing a business that's just a little bit more simple, that can really keep it simple and keep your schedule simple and provide a lot of freedom and spaciousness. This is a great model for you. And I've been really tuning into YouTube for a while now because YouTube is just so far ahead any other video search engine. Every other social media platform is going to get phased out as people hop from platform to platform, and younger people are hopping on different platforms. YouTube's never going away. And like Shelly said, YouTube's, it's kind of eternal because your videos feel fresh, whether you made them yesterday or 2 years ago. Do you want to say a little bit more about why you chose this model of doing business?
Yeah, well, I mean, in a lot of ways, and people probably relate to this, I wasn't necessarily making conscious choices at the time of making those choices, but looking back, it's like, oh, this is really working for me. And the reason it's working for me is this. So one of the things I love about YouTube is my content. It doesn't have to be current content. Whereas with platforms like Facebook and Instagram, we're really not looking back on 4 years ago what people are saying or posts. But with YouTube, people are watching videos from 4 years ago. It's a really common thing. And YouTube still feeds videos from that long ago. And so all of my content is always working for me, like literally always working for me, because YouTube will just continue to feed that content to people. So for that reason, I love it because everything I've created is still working for me almost, maybe as much as it was when I first put it out. And I love that.
I love it too. And video creates so much connection. And I know so many of our women are asking, once I learn how to get clients, should I be thinking about a podcast? Should I be thinking about YouTube? Should I be thinking about TikTok, Instagram? Where should I put my energy? And I always say, I'd rather you master one or two platforms than try to do something on every platform, right? Really learn how to turn your relationships on one or two platforms into paying clients. And, one of the things we really preach from the rooftops here is go figure out that your stuff works to get clients and just start wherever's easiest. And I know for a lot of you, you're starting on Facebook, that's where your clients are. But once you kind of have a handle on, oh, my stuff is working, people are trusting me, I'm building that trust. Once you have that, I think YouTube's a great place to go because unlike a podcast, your YouTube content gets displayed visually. It gets displayed, like Shelly said, you can see videos from years ago right up next to a video you made yesterday. People can search, it's more searchable. People can get to know you so much more intimately because it's video. Yeah. And I'm curious, Shelly, if you'd be willing to share a little bit. I know you sent me your kind of business on a napkin, but how did this build out? You kind of stumbled into this. You're like, I like making videos, this kind of chose you. And all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, people are watching and I could tell me the origin story. All of a sudden you've got people buying courses from you and you've got $1 million company.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, it's interesting. I've had two really similar surges in my business. And the first happened back in 2012. And then the second happened in 2019, 2020. And they were surges in a similar way, but on different platforms. So back in 2012, that was the time of blogging. And what happened for me is I was personally going through a really potent time in my life where the message that I wanted to share with the world, which is the same message that I'm sharing with the world now, just a little bit of a different evolution, but manifesting love, learning how to find your person, conscious relating, all of this, I felt so juiced about this subject that I just had to share. And so I started blogging back in 2012. It started coming through, and the passion is what like really led that material to get out to hundreds of thousands of people. It was like my desire to truly, truly share. So it came from this really innocent place, not even trying to create a business, but really wanting to share the message. And it's similar with my YouTube experience. So again, I had this, because I've been in this business, the online sharing my message for over 10 years. And there's been times where I'm at the peak where I really want to share. And there's been times where it lulls and I'm like, not really that into sharing the message. So I was back on another peak, wanting to share the message again, really juiced by my own experience and what I was learning and what I was manifesting. And I just was like, you know what? I'm getting on YouTube. I'm getting back on YouTube. And I went for it. I really went for it. And this was the end of 2019, beginning of 2020, also really kind of a prime time for us to be online. That wasn't intentional though, but that was the timing for me. And I started producing so much content. But here's the thing. None of it was perfect. It was like 5-minute videos. It's my iPhone up on like maybe a ring light, probably not even then. It was just like me sharing the message. And I just started sharing and sharing and sharing and sharing. And I wasn't worried if I was like repeating myself in the videos or if I just was like, here is the message that I want the world to experience. And in 2020, I posted a video every 300 videos or something, 350 videos on YouTube. It was crazy. I posted so many videos in 2020, but I was in that experience of just wanting to share the message, and it really worked for me. And it worked for me. I loved it. I loved sharing it, and the people loved it as well. And there's a thing about YouTube. Another thing that I love is that if you're speaking about a particular topic and you're like titling, all you got to do is like title it correctly. You don't have to worry even too much about SEO or anything. You can, but you don't have to. YouTube will put it in front of the right people. It's Google, right? It's so like I was speaking about a very particular style of manifesting. I was speaking about manifesting love. It was niched enough that YouTube knew where to put it, and it just started growing and growing and growing. And I grew from, I started out having 8,000 subscribers in like 2019, and I grew to like 50,000 by the end of 2020.
That's amazing. Yeah. That's so inspiring. And well, first of all, I just want to acknowledge your inside out, like following the muse, like you've been called, you've been following your impulses. And I think that's that's the path we're all on that brings us to this moment of like, I have a message and I want to share it. And you can't deny that anymore. It gets so loud inside of you. It's not like you can stop listening to it. And I know, post a yes in the comments if you can relate, because I know many of you, that's why you're here. And I feel really protective of any woman that comes into our orbit to grow a business, because if we don't get women, creating enough traction, getting enough eyeballs, making enough money within a period of time, we risk them running out of the passion and the motivation to share a message that I really think like we're being tapped on the shoulder by the world, by the universe, to share a message that's meant to help heal this world. If we want to heal the world, we have to heal humans. And that's why our women come to us. And I just get so inspired by someone like you, who you were just surrendering to what wanted to move through you. And I know for a lot of us, 2020 was a big year for our businesses. It certainly was for us too, because everybody was getting online. But regardless of that moment that everybody's getting online, you also surrendered to that which wanted to move through you for like 300 and however many days in a row. And there are times when that impulse lulls, the desire to share lulls. And how do we build a business that can handle some of that. When I feel the upwelling of, oh, I want to share and I want to share this, I will oftentimes fire off 3 videos in a day because I know my team's going to ask for one next week and it might not be there next week, and so it's like, how do we get out of the dancing bear syndrome? And I think that the model that you've chosen for your business can really get you there, because even if you don't if you want to take a couple months off, like I did a couple years ago, it was like I had a backlog of videos and content and blogs that my team could keep sending out. So there was fresh content going out to my audience while I was at Burning Man, partying my butt off, forgetting that I was a CEO, because I just needed that time to go off gas. And so I get really inspired. I want to show people your channel. And I'm curious if you have any tips here, because one of the things I notice right away is that I can go through here and I can easily see what these videos are going to be about. And these videos are also on topics that I've heard a lot of my single women friends wanting to know the answer to these topiks, like how to make somebody miss you, how to make somebody contact you, self-love. Are you chasing love? This is the stuff I'm talking to my single friends about. This is the stuff I was talking about when I was manifesting Drew. And so I just want to encourage all of you that are thinking about getting on YouTube to just make sure that you have a way to get simple thumbnails up so that it's really obvious what the topic of your videos are. For those of you that are using our format and launching and doing video challenges, the video challenge content or the video content that you're making on social media can be moved over to YouTube with a little intro, maybe an invitation to subscribe at the end, and that thumbnail so people can search and find you. And what other tips would you give us?
I think part of why I have been super successful on YouTube is my willingness to just put it out there even before it's perfect. Like I'm just now pulling together a more professional setup in terms of camera, in terms of sound, in terms of help with editing just now. And it's been a couple years. I'm well over a 7-figure business and I'm just now pulling that together. So I have always been willing to kind of just do it and keep putting it out there and let it not be perfect, but keep putting it out there. And like, if many of the thumbnails in my early days, like I made, right? So it's like just a willingness to like, go, keep going.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. That is like truth, mic drop. Pop a yes in the comments if you are also willing to just keep getting it out there without the perfect ring light, without a video editor, without the perfect sound. Like if people want to hear your message anyway. And, I graduated with hundreds of other women that studied at the Life Purpose Institute with me, 10 years ago. And the founder of the organization called me up like a year and a half later and was like, I'm seeing you everywhere and people are talking about you and you've like already grown a, $800,000 a year company. Like, can you come back and talk to our grads and tell them what you're doing? And like, my big answer was like, I'm just doing it. Like, I'm sometimes doing it from my phone. I'm sometimes doing it from my laptop. Like, I'm not thinking I need to have all my ducks in a row. And now we're a $5 million company and we're just putting our first employee manual together. It's just like everybody that works for me is like, okay, we're going to figure this out. Cause obviously this message wants to get out because thousands of women are coming and like, now we're getting stuff together so we can keep scaling. But I just want to give every single one of you permission to not wait until you think you're ready, to not wait until you think you have the perfect video equipment, to not wait till you've lost 20 pounds, to not try to get the perfect makeup. Like people want you. And Shelly, you're so inspirational in that way. Like you're so who you are. And I hope it's okay for me to brag on you as a mama that now you're pregnant and you're glowing and you're just totally rocking it as a pregnant mom that's now built a business that's going to allow you to take as much time as you need with your little one. And what's that journey been like as you've birthed this business? You've now manifested your man in Mexico and you guys bought a house together like a year later or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like less than a year later, like 7 months later.
And we'll go back and unpack Shelly's business on a napkin in just a moment, but just, what's the personal process just been like, just a little bit more?
I mean, I'll just give a little, it's very short manifesting teaching, which is, the way I teach manifesting, it's all about, and it's really relevant to business owners. It's about saying, this is who I am, and this is what's meant for me. And this is what I'm choosing for myself. And I will stand by this, and I will hold this vision and know it is who I am meant to be. And so again, like, honestly, part of the reason I think my business blew up the way it did is because I so wholly believe in the fact that I am a manifesting teacher. I am fully embodied in that. I take full ownership of it, and I'm really good at it. And I know that. And so because I'm embodying that, that's how the world sees me, and they receive that, and they receive the transmission. And it's the same with manifesting love. It's the same with manifesting money. It's the same with manifesting pregnancy. All of it. It's choosing my identity, we can call it. Identity is a little heady, but it's choosing the embodiment of who I will be in my life, in my world. And so, yeah, when I manifested my partner, it was that I knew I was meant to be in this most amazing relationship. I knew I was meant to be with my life partner. I knew we were going to start a family together. It was so clear to me. And there was no wavering out of that knowing, because I'm really practiced now at manifesting. I know how to do it. And he showed up like that in like 3 weeks. And it's like, boom, we're all in. And here we go. We traveled around for 6 months, bought a house, we got pregnant, and now we're getting married in a month. So, it's just
Thank
how it
you.
works.
Thank you. Thank you. Just let that wash over you, because what I really felt in there, and the thing that, makes me cry every time, is when I find that within myself of like, I am meant for this. I am meant for such a life as this. And so just do that with us if it feels right. It's like, I am meant for this. I am meant for like mind-blowing love. I am meant for like life altering success. I am meant for visibility. I am meant for financial freedom. Like, me too. I am meant for this. And that is exactly the energy I was in when I manifested Drew in Hawaii. It was just like, I'm ready. Like, I'm meant for this. This is mine. And, my friends that watched me date around and be single on and off and let go of every single relationship for 10 years since I got divorced. Even my friends are like, we didn't even think he existed. Like, you would tell us about this man that you wanted to be with. And we were kind of like, I think her bar is too high. And it might've taken me 10 years, but I would do another 10 years to find him again. I'm not going to have to scratch that, wipe that away, but he's like such the dream guy for me, and everybody in our sphere sees it. And it came from that exact place that you're talking about. And so let's apply that to your businesses too.
Yeah, I call it, sometimes when I'm teaching my students, I call it the relentless choosing. Like the relentless choosing of who you will be, of what will be true for you. Like, be relentless. That's how I am. And that's why I'm a really good manifester. If I choose something for myself, I will be relentless in my choosing. And it's bringing that whole being, whole body on board with like, this is it. And I also want to say that getting there is a practice. You don't have to know how to do that right away, but you can learn to practice that feeling of choosing. Practice it, practice it, practice it. It will become more familiar to you, and there will be a point in time where you are ready to relentlessly choose. You fully are. So even if you're not quite there yet, don't worry. This is where the practicing comes in, and learning, okay, well, who am I as this version of myself? Who am I as a millionaire? Or who am I as with this business? Who, like, hey, let me start to explore. Let me start to try that on. Oh, okay, there she is. Okay, now I'm starting to feel her. And you practice it. That's you stepping into this new version of yourself. And when we get familiar with that new version of ourselves, and then we take full ownership of being her, that's when the magic just starts going crazy.
because you're not just calling in the vibration, you're relentless about the actions as well. And you're infusing your actions with that knowingness and that self-authority. And I invite all of you, if it feels right, to write down that word relentless, relentless choosing, because I hear so many of us talk about like, oh my God, like it's such a hustle. Like it, you know, I'm having to like show up when I don't feel like it, like the struggle of getting visible. And it's just like, what if you were choosing this relentlessly? And what if you actually took time to raise your vibration in the morning so that when you go to do the business building activities, they're an expression of that desire and passion to just get your message out. Like it doesn't really matter. I'm stoked on Shelly's YouTube, you know, her YouTube business model, but it doesn't really matter where you do it. It just matters that you do it, because that's going to self-propel you. And I get so inspired by watching you. We're in that place where you were like, and let's just tell the story really quick. If it's okay. It's like, you were in that place where you were like, I know my guys out there that you were in Tulum. And you were like, okay, there's this guy that's here. And the first time you guys met, there wasn't necessarily the same energy, but then you just kept being who you were. And then the next time that he came back around, I remember you were like, he saw me as the goddess. Can you?
There is a couple. I mean, we met the first time and it was just like a friendly meeting. We met a second time and we were like, And then the third time, mostly him, he was like, boom, goddess, that's her, I'm in. And you know, there's a magical unfolding. And this is true with business. This is true with life. This is true with all of, there's just all you have to do is keep choosing who you are and what's going to happen for you. That's all you have to do. And it's going to be orchestrated. It's going to keep orchestrating around you. But if you stay true to your vision and your knowing, it will unfold. And it often unfolds in magical, surprising ways. I mean, you just can't see it coming. And then you look back and you're like, wow, that's how it happened. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So
I'm so turned on. I'm turned on by the place that you keep finding in yourself and what has manifested and unfolded out of you. And I know the women watching this are going to be turned on as well, because, you know, there's just a lot of kind of like fight the good fight, rise to the occasion, like, you know, that hustle mentality that I think as women, it's like, we know there's another way. We know there's another way into flow. It doesn't mean don't take action. It doesn't mean don't get focused, but there is a more feminine way.
Right. And what I would say, the advice there is like, continue to remember your why. Continue to remember like who you really want to be in this world. Why are you doing it in the first place? And come back to feeling as that person, right? Because I've done it many times in a 10-year span of my business as well, getting super locked into like the things, you know, and like all that stuff. And I need to do this and and it's like, whoa, we get fully disconnected from that deeper truth. And it's the deeper truth is the thing, not only that's going to actually propel the success, in my opinion, but the deeper truth is going to be the place that you freaking love this from. You love it. You love being this person. This is who you are. It's like, that's where you get to thrive. That's where you get to come back to like, oh yeah, this is why I'm doing it. Because I love being this version of me. This is it. Yeah. And so it's so important for us to remember when we get caught up in all the little details, no matter what it is, building a business, manifesting someone, it's like all that stuff. No, hold on. What's the truth? Who am I? Who do I want to be? This is what is driving me. This is the juice. And I have to come back to her over and over again. I have to remember this is why.
Yeah. Yeah. And to remember too, like we can get so trapped in the overwhelm and our thoughts and, you know, this isn't going to work, or this is too hard, or I want to just find another way. Just, there must be an easier way, like all of that stuff. And focus on like the last time you might have felt that way, and then you showed up anyway. You showed up to make the video. You showed up to have coffee with your friend or tea with your friend or matcha or kombucha or whatever you had, or you showed up to bring your message to the world and you felt amazing afterward. So then we have to call ourselves out like, oh, those feelings, those emotions they're not necessarily real, right? David White has this poem that says, a line in his poem that says, the cure to exhaustion isn't rest, it's wholeheartedness. I feel that in you.
Yeah.
I feel that
Beautiful.
in you, Shelly. It's like you are a woman who's really committed to living in her heart. And I even energetically feel you setting boundaries where it's like, I'm going to keep it simple. This is what I'm choosing right now so that I can keep it simple and maintain the spaciousness that I've established for myself.
Yes, totally. Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. So when you go to Shelly's YouTube channel, you're going to see a few things. And she did her business on a napkin for me, which is what I have a lot of our speakers do. So you'll see if you're watching and if you're listening, just follow through with this. But she's got her YouTube videos. It's her main lead generation source. And she's really capitalized and she's gone deep in YouTube. Pay attention to this. If you want to scale your business, you've got to be willing to go an inch wide and a mile deep rather than a mile wide and an inch deep. Because if you're jumping around from strategy to strategy to strategy and trying to start up a podcast one day and a YouTube channel the next day and get on Instagram and TikTok the next day, none of that's ever like, you've got to go an inch wide and a mile deep first, right? Brendan Burchard says like, if you're digging for water in the backyard, like dig a hole until water's pouring in. Do not start digging shallow holes because something's not working. Like the riches are down there. And Shelly found hers in YouTube. And you can see that her YouTube videos do two things. They send people to her free ebooks, which is such a smart strategy to have those free gifts. And then she also has links on her YouTube page where people can actually buy low-priced self-study courses right on her YouTube channel directly. And from the ebooks and then from the direct sales, she follows up. We always talk about how the fortune is in the follow-up. And she doesn't just let people buy and then they're off to the races on their own. She follows up. After those ebooks, she makes offers for her courses. She has those people on an email list once they download her free ebook. She doesn't expect them to give her their email address with nothing in return, right? So she's got her email list that she continues to nurture and send content out to, and then make more offers for low-priced courses. Because when people first start getting exposed to Shelly, they might not buy the first, the second, the fifth, or even the 20th time they see her. But with those emails and with those friendly feminine invitations, they're buying. And she always then, when people buy her courses, she always makes more offers like, hey, how are you liking this course? Following up, speaking to specific parts of the courses. I'm imagining that you do that because then Shelly told me before this interview that she has over 50% of people that buy one course buy another course. So I'm going to hold this up for any of you that are studying these different business models. You can take a screenshot of this, and she's got multiple courses, a catalog full. I got the idea that she has over a dozen different courses that then kind of daisy chain into each other. And that's a big part of the 7 figures of revenue. So keep in mind that Shelly let me know that when she hit 7 figures, none of her courses were more than $397. So do the math. That's a lot of purchasers, but Shelly's being super strategic. And this thing didn't just all of a sudden manifest out of a few hours of visualizations or ayahuasca. Like that might have been a part of it, but it was for me. But there were action steps that she took. She was relentless in her choosing day after day. And she created these courses. And then you've got some Q&A. So do you want to add to your business model? And I hope it was okay that I just kind of edified the crap out of what you've built.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, the way it started, and again, here's where you can just be, it doesn't have to be this really elaborate business plan. I just was like kind of going off what felt right to me. And so I started doing master classes, right? Where I do it on Zoom, it'd be a live masterclass and I'd give them a workbook and I'd have a particular topic, whether it was self-love or manifesting love or whatever particular topic. And we do the masterclass. And then once the masterclass is finished, it's recorded, packaged up. That's a course. So now we have a self-study course. So every time I've done a live masterclass, that is now a course. And I sell it anywhere from like $50 to $200, something like that. And it's a larger catalog of all these courses, but they all are different enough that people can go from course to course. They can kind of build on each other. I now have some larger courses that are more of like a 5-week or 6-week experience. They might have some live calls with me, but for the most part, most of my course catalog is self-study. It is pre-recorded, and it works fine. It's fine. It's fully automated. They purchase it, they do the thing, they come back, they purchase another thing. So it's really simple.
Yeah, people want to learn to manifest. People want to learn the skills to go out and find love and manifest the things they want in life. And people walk into a department store or into a boutique and they like what they see and they buy it. And Shelly has created a suite of courses online where they like what they see and they buy it and they want more information. And how would Shelly answer this question? And they're getting a transmission every time they're in your world. And as a teacher of manifestation, this is such a perfect business model for you, because you do the masterclass. If it works, if people show up, now you have the workbook, you've got the topic, it was a topic that people wanted to hear, you've got it recorded, and it becomes a course. And that's exactly where we're encouraging our clients to start. It's where we're encouraging our community to start with masterclasses, start on Zoom, start getting visible, because that way you get that feedback rather than starting out making videos into a camera, into a little, black device. It can be a little impersonal. We want to make sure that you grow in that confidence by having some live audience there in the beginning. And once people want to buy, then that becomes a course. It's such a brilliant model. Here at Women Rocking Business, we have these year-long training programs that include coaching and, all of these pieces. And it really works for us because for women that are very serious about growing a business, you really need that kind of weekly accountability. You need to feel like you're belly to belly with a community. You need a personal like you do, like a lot of us need that kind of a container holding us. Not everybody, but a lot of us really do know that we need that, and that works. So this business model works really well for us, but we're continuing to bring more business models to the forefront so that our clients can really build out their business once they've had some success in the direction they want to go. And I'm so inspired by this. Would you be willing to share? It sounds like you've really built out 18 courses that are kind of like your core 18 courses. There will probably be more coming. Now you're going to get to share what it's like to birth a little manifesting baby.
I know. Yeah. The content will, I'm sure, be changing in the years to come, just with having her come into our lives. But, what were you asking me about the 18 courses?
Do you anticipate making more? Are these kind of your core 18 courses?
Well, here's the thing. So what's interesting. So in 2020, this is really interesting. In 2020, I made, maybe like half a dozen courses, something like that. That was really kind of my first year. So maybe it was half a dozen, maybe up to 10 courses I had created and put out there in the year 2020. And I did really well in my business, like high six figures, really high six figures. In 2021, I didn't make a single new thing. That's when I met my man. We were traveling around. We were here and there and all over the place. I didn't make anything new. I just made YouTube videos. And you know what? I made the same amount of money as I made the year before. So I wasn't creating anything new except the free content that was always directing back into these self-study courses. And my business kind of stayed the same. So this year has been a big production year because I'm pregnant and I'm going to be giving birth to a baby. And I really don't plan on making new stuff in the next year or so after she's born, or maybe 6-9 months. I don't really know, but I want to give myself that space. And I just do have a business model where it's not relying on me to be there, which I really love. I really, really love that. So we'll see. I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't. Maybe, who knows how it will continue to unfold. I'll just have to intuitively tune in when the time is right. But I'm just finishing like my last live course of this year. And I don't think I'm going to be producing anything more that's new this year and for a while.
And I really want to emphasize, this is actually part of what I train our clients that are at like we have a leverage level, we have a lotus level for women that are already moving towards 6 figures or moving towards 7 figures. And at a certain point, it's actually such wisdom to, rather than continuing to create or fiddle with your courses, to get those recorded and then to pour your creative energy into relationship building activities. When you have new ideas, make that a relationship building video. When you have new ideas, get that up on YouTube, so that you can continue to increase your lead generation, because we talk about the 3 levels of business that you've got to have going. You've got to have your community building, lead generation. Like, how are you finding potential clients? You got to have your sales, and then you got to have your fulfillment. Are your courses good? Are you taking great care of clients? Shelly includes some Q&A in a lot of her courses because it gives people that access to her. And you can do that and still have a lot of freedom. And you could potentially pause that or bring somebody in to do the Q&A if you're, going to be out for a while. But, once you can sell and you have something that you can sell, rather than continuing to create new things, it's like, go back to lead generation, because, we've got to have all 3 kind of balanced, and we've got to be filling our pipelines, and that can really set us free. So, congratulations on just channeling an incredible message and being of service to so many. I want to encourage you guys to go and check out Shelly. Head over to her YouTube channel. Just type in Shelly Bullard. It's Shelly, Shelly Bullard, and her Manifest Love YouTube channel is going to pop up. She's got some manifesting gifts that you can download here. Highly recommend these. Manifest a new relationship, manifest your specific person. And, just you've put up such a beautiful website. It's so easy. It's so simple. It's so classy. And I know you've got some, at least a couple free gifts on your website too. What's the URL of your website?
ShellyBullard.com.
Shelly Bullard. It's easy to remember.
Yeah.
ShellyBullard.com.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're so welcome. This is really fun. It's fun to be able to talk about all of this with you, and you so get it. And it's fun to be in the energy and to remember. That's why we gather together, isn't it? To remember, so we can collectively remember, oh yeah, this is why I'm doing this. Oh yeah, this is why I'm here. Oh yeah, this is like the truth of what my business is, or the truth of what my life is. So it's really beautiful.
So inspiring. It's so inspiring. And as we sign out, like, I'm just curious, those moments where you maybe thought, oh, could I really do this? Or any of the women that are watching that are thinking, could I really do this? Or I'm not as shiny as Shelly, or blah, 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 blah. Like the stories that go through all of our minds, and like what advice you might give to the a few years ago when you were really wondering if this would go anywhere. Like what piece of advice would you give us to sign off with?
Yeah. And this is the advice I'm going to give, is also advice I give for manifesting. And it's really having the conversation with yourself that says something like, am I willing to choose myself in this way? Am I willing to even try to believe? Do I think it's possible? And am I willing to just try to believe that this is possible for me? Am I willing to choose myself in this way? Am I willing to go for my dream? And if not, what else am I going to do? What else is there to do? Okay, let's do it. Am I willing to just keep choosing myself? Just keep choosing myself, choosing what's true for me.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I love that question. If I don't go for this, what else am I going to do? I ask myself that all the time. And I ask myself, like, when I feel overwhelmed or it feels like a lot, I'm like, I wonder if Oprah ever feels that way. It's like, yeah, she probably does. She probably does have days and moments where she feels that way. And if she found a way, and if Shelly can find a way, and if, right, all of us keep finding a way, we just keep rising. And we deserve this. We deserve a life of impact and freedom and contribution just as much as anybody else does. So I just want to sign off saying thank you to Shelly, and just a reminder that you deserve this. You get to choose this, and keep going, sister, because the world really is waiting for you, and your clients really are waiting for you. They're not just waiting for someone like you. They're actually waiting for you. That's why you're getting tapped on the shoulder with this desire to share your message. Thank you for being such a brave powerhouse on the road, on the journey. And Shelly, I know it was just divine intervention that I got to sit down with you at brunch last weekend. And just thank you so much for your generous share.
Thank you. So beautiful to be here.
Bye, everyone. If you got value from this episode, I invite you to hit the subscribe button so that we can get you weekly business trainings in your inbox to help you grow your impact and your income the women's way. Head over into the Women Rocking Business Sisterhood Facebook group and introduce yourself there, because women go so much further when we go together. Just click the button to subscribe, and we will see you on the other side.